Unacceptable fringe. 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 Unacceptable fringe.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, or at least had a wonderful weekend as we wind up and come to an end. Boy, what a week it's been, and what a show it is going to be tonight. We had a stream Thursday. Unfortunately, I pulled that stream. I had to remove said stream from my video library because we had complications during the stream. We had the cameras drop out. We had video drop out. I wasn't really happy with the quality of what went on. And while it was a really good stream, I decided to pull it. And we're going to get into more great topics tonight here on the show. So welcome in as everybody packs into the room. Let's go. Let's get it started. Let's start off with our usual. Let's do a roll call. Let's get everybody in from one province in Canada. Let's see if we can get every province covered across the country as we get ready for another weekly wrap. Sound off in the chat. Let me know where you're at. I'm a poet and didn't know it. And let's get started with the weekly wrap. We've got a lot of people jumping in already. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Angry Canadians up in here. Joanne's in here. Hello. Helena Jennings has jumped in as well. Aaron Morrison, but let's start with Xylo. Justin cut off the heat. Maybe. No, this is just Sunday attire, man. I'm not wearing layers. Gordon coming in from Three Hills. Welcome into the stream. How you doing, Gordon? Good to see you. We got Kim Ray jumping in. We got Joanne coming in from Alberta. Welcome in, both of you. It's good to see you. Canada RV jumping into the stream. Great to see you. Welcome back to the stream. Great to see you in the stream. We got Taylor Maid jumping in from Saskatchewan. Welcome in. Vikram Singh jumping in. Welcome back in, Vikram, from Montreal. Good old Montreal, Quebec. Welcome into the stream. It's here's the Roman Patriot. Fam, love you guys. Let's get loud. Let's get loud, everybody. It's going to get loud tonight. Here we go. Angry Canadians jumping in from Guelph, Ontario. T. Rich jumping in from good old Al freaking Berta, baby. Welcome into the stream. Great to see you. We've got Amnesty, good old Amnesty, good friend of the channel. Welcome in, Amnesty, from Windsor, Ontario. Good to see you back into the stream. We got Aaron Morrison coming in from good old Red Deer, Alberta, one of my favorite places to go in Alberta. Carrie Lynn Landry coming in from Alberta as well. We got a lot of Al friggin' Berta people in here tonight. We got, what else? Who's coming in here? Mystical. The mayor was rummaging through the garbage. She hissed and scurried into the shadows. Well, you'd never know with Jody Gondek. She's looking for those one-time use single items in the garbage. Kitty jumping on, tweet on here. Welcome into the stream, Kitty. Good to see you. Trudeau's a commie. Welcome back into the stream. Timmy coming in from Spruce Grove, Alberta. Another great town in Alberta that I love to visit. We got Helena coming in. There's lots of liberals on Maverick. I don't know about that. I don't know. Are we talking about Maverick Media? Or are we talking about the same channel here? I'm not sure if there's lots of liberals out there. Kim Ray coming in from Strathmore, Alberta. Good to see you in here again, Kim Ray. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for joining us on the stream. We've got Mal coming in from New Zealand. Good old New Zealand. Welcome into the stream. Good to see you here. Welcome in. Man, that's far away. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you here in the stream. Got, of course, Derek Macbeth chiming in from good old Calgary, my town, everyone's hometown, soon to be the safe haven of Canada, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as I take that mayor's seat. Welcome into the stream, Derek. Good to see you. Who else do we have here? Non-compliant Canadian. Again, I always say it. It's my favorite type of Canadian. Welcome in from Eastern Ontario. It's good to see you here. Funis has joined us into the stream. Ange coming in. And fellow unacceptable Canadian sending love from Muskoka, Ontario. Welcome back into the stream, Ange. Good to see you. Good to have you back in here. Darcy's coming in from Didsbury. Mike TV Dub joining us from good old Winterpeg coming in. Romanians know how to handle despots. There we go. I'm getting as caught up as I can, guys. I really apologize. I am checking the comments. CB coming in from Alberta. Al frickin' Berta. CB, welcome into the stream. Always good to have CB here. Jody Gondek's looking for tampons. They're all in the men's rooms now. Well, somebody should send her the memo. I'm not sure what is going on there. It's I'm on Maverick. There is no liberals there. You know what? I've been on Maverick several times. I quite enjoy a good old conversation with Rick Walker. If you guys missed our Christmas video where we did the reading of How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, I think Rick stole the show with that video. He really did a good excerpt from that book. Shout out to Rick. I like Maverick Media. Always good to hear folks are over there. FJT, I just watched 3 minutes of his stream and left. Whose stream? Are we talking about Maverick still? Is everybody still crapping on Maverick? Why? Why? I think you misinterpreted the atmosphere in the chat channel there today. It was a general distrust of politicians being displayed. So here's the thing. Let's talk about that, because I've got some videos coming out this week. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Derek, you sultry man of high levels of intelligence, you always talk smack about Pierre Poilievre. I've never talked smack about Pierre in my entire YouTube existence. I've questioned Pierre Poilievre, and I think it's important to question him. I have talked with his team, as well as his right-hand assistant that basically is the voice of Pierre. He's like Pierre's herald. And we've talked about the YouTube content that I've made, and I've always told them, like, look, I've met with Pierre. I've talked with Pierre. Pierre's a fan of How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom. In fact, I was invited to Ottawa again to meet with the Conservative Party after the success of that book. And Pierre again told me, keep doing what you're doing. So I quite like Pierre Poilievre as a person. Now, the thing about politics is that people seem to get up in the air whenever you question the motives or the way something is put together by their favorite politician. It's almost like you're insulting their mother. And I find that very weird, because these are just people who write the rules of your life or the rules of the country that affect your life. And after being in an abusive relationship for 8 years with a lying, sociopathic dictator, shouldn't we be asking questions? Shouldn't we be telling the next guy coming in that, hey, look, we can't do this again. We just need to know that you're sincere. We need to know that there's no tomfoolery going on around here. If we don't question things, are we really any better? I think those are the things people sometimes forget is that, look, I like Pierre just as much as the next guy. And I do have videos coming this week praising and saying how Pierre is going to be the next PM for Canada and how great of a job he actually is doing. I just think that it's fair to call it out. I don't see the problem. Pierre doesn't see the problem anytime I'm talking to his people about asking the same questions. Again, I've gone back to the video where he had his slip up, where he said, we're going to reduce the carbon tax. And then again, I had my whole audience jump on my back for calling it out. And all I said was, look, let's get clarification here, but we're still going to report on it. And, you know, I'd explained to Pierre's assistant that, look, it's all over Pierre's Twitter post. I'm asking, what did he mean in that video? And the first thing I was told was, thanks for clarifying it. I'm glad we can get that out there. And thanks for putting out a video, letting people know that we talked about it and that we've cleared the air. I don't see the problem with that. I think it's better because we're more heavily informed. There are times I'll put out content on this channel where if I even make a slip up about a spelling error, or I get my dates wrong, or I've said something that's slightly off base of what I thought was correct, boy, the chat is real quick to come and enforce me that, hey, Derek, you made a screw up here, or you misinterpreted that, or you missed something here. And rightfully so, they should. I am not going to crap on anybody's head who wants to point out a mistake that I've made. I will always happily take responsibility anytime I've made an error. But if you're going to request that of a YouTuber, you should be requesting that of your government as well. We want clarification. We want transparency. We want the goods. We don't want another prime minister who's going to come in here and say, look, let's just go back to the days where we skim off the top and you guys are none the wiser. I don't know. Am I the only one who's missing that? Do we want that? Like, I understand that Pierre getting in means it's better than Justin Trudeau. Yes, I agree. But if we don't question the man, aren't we giving him a free pass to just basically do the same thing all over again, just not get caught? I don't know. Note to self, don't let Derek crap on her head. No, I'm not Vince McMahon. I'm not going, too soon? I don't know if you guys missed the story in the news this weekend. Vince McMahon, CEO of the WWE, has once again stepped down for about the third time in his career after trafficking and assaulting an employee by defecating on her head while performing lewd acts on her. It's a real mess. Literally, no pun intended. Disgusting. This is going to be another Bill Cosby, I think. This is going to be another it's going to be crazy. But we don't really talk about that kind of stuff on this channel because we mostly focus on politics. I'd love to cover stories like that, but the problem, anytime I cover any stories like that on this channel, it puts us out of the algorithm and people don't really get notified when our videos drop. Can you prove that? Well, I'll tell you how you prove that. So, okay, let's go off topic. Let's talk about Vince McMahon for a second. What you have to remember about this girl who's filing the lawsuit is she was paid $1 million out of a $2 million offer of hush money to walk away and not do anything about this. And Vince stiffed her on the bill. So how else do you say you're guilty other than giving somebody money? Like, they're going to go through the records. And if his bank records show $1 million going out to this woman, don't you think they're going to have to say, you know, Mr. McMahon, you don't really gift somebody $1 million. What's going on here? Now, I'm not saying that $1 million was all paid up front, but if they look at transactions going over, like it was supposed to be $2 million over a couple years or something like that, that she was originally offered from him to shut up. But if money has been going actively into her bank account, and this isn't the first time Vince McMahon's been accused of these kind of allegations, I'll remind you. It's not looking good for him. That's all I'm going to say. I will say innocent until proven guilty. Okay. I will stand behind that, but I'm just saying that after this much time, multiple accusations over the years, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, I typically tend to believe my gut feeling and say, yeah, chances are that dude's a creep. We'll see. We'll see what comes out of it. It's gonna be crazy. If no money has gone to this individual, then again, I would say, hey, prove it, right? But you're pretty guilty when when they say, why would you give this person $1 million if you didn't do anything wrong to them? Speaking of defecation, it's something I wanted to share tonight. We talked on Friday. I had a video drop on Friday about Toronto, or not Toronto, immigration. We talked about immigration and how people are coming up into Toronto, how people are coming up through Quebec into Roxham Road, and how immigration is ultimately destroying this country. Now, a lot of people got the wrong message when I did my stream on Thursday. I was talking about immigrants who are coming to Canada and said, if you can't assimilate, if you can't get on board with Canadian values, get out. Now, I'm not saying that immigrants aren't welcome in Canada, and I'm certainly not saying that I'm negative against any immigrant who's made their home here. What I was talking about is the lack of housing, the lowering of the value of our vote, because remember, when these folks come in and claim asylum, they know nothing of our politics. If I move to the United States tomorrow, all I know is that I don't like Joe Biden. But I don't know anything about senators. I don't know anything about state laws. I don't know anything about their politics. So typically, if I went into a country and I had to vote, if I had the right to vote. Now, I'm not going to say that everybody who comes in and seeks asylum has the right to vote, but if I had the right to vote, I'd be asking people around, "Hey, what's your feel on the political situation around here?" And I'd probably vote for whoever let me in the country, and that's typically what happens in Canada when they come in. Justin Trudeau says, "Come on in, give us your you're poor, you're sick, and let's take you in, let's get you a better life. Let's put you in a hotel room and we'll cover the bill." Naturally, if they're ever given the opportunity to vote, who are they going to vote for? The guy who gave them the free hotel, the guy who let them stay. So that's where I'm saying, and those are the people who come to Canada and then say, well, I'm offended because you celebrate Halloween. I'm offended because you have Christmas. I'm offended because I don't like the way you guys do things around here. I'm going to call you white privilege all the time. Those are the people that are starting stuff in this country and causing problems. Look at the countless Palestinian and um, uh, the protests. Both sides of the spectrum. I'm not just going to go on one side of Palestine. It's an ongoing problem. There are police being threatened, and they're not arresting people because, well, we don't want to cause a problem. We don't want to be covered on the news. We don't want people talking bad or looking at us like we're racist. That's no way to run a country. I've said it before when I've talked about the issue over in Palestine, is that I'm for Canada. I'm all people ask, where do you stand on this issue? For Canada. I think Canada needs to take care of itself. We need to fix our problems here. I've been all for it. When you look at the former Czech Republic, when you look at the way Canada has sent its peacekeepers in to help situations all around the world over the decades, Canada has been a forefront for freedom, which I know, according to Justin Trudeau, is a terrorist word to use now. But we stood for something. And those were in the days when Canada could afford to send peacekeepers over to other countries to assist in war-torn countries. And I'm all for helping other countries that are in need. I'm all for ending the suffering of people when we can help them. But Canada is in such a dire state right now. Canada is so screwed up. We need to fix our inflation. We need to fix our housing situation. We need to fix our immigration problems. We need to get people back on track with common sense. And then we can start talking about, let's send some peacekeepers over to help in these situations. But we have to help ourselves before we can help others. I've said it countless times on this stream. If an airplane's going down, you're told to put on your oxygen mask first so that you can better assist your children or anybody next to you. It's the same thing with the country. Our country is going down. We need to desperately put on our oxygen mask, and then we'll be able to help others. But what part of the problem is when I talk about the immigration issue in Canada, it's this. And I'm going to try to have the audio in here. I've always had audio issues. So bear with me, folks. I'm going to play a little bit of this video. Let me know in the chat if you can hear the audio. Okay, let's just start. Did you guys hear that little bit of audio? Were you guys getting that in the chat? I don't know what it is with the web browser. Sometimes we don't know. You're not getting the audio. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So what I'll do is I'll play this video and I'll just iterate what's being said in this video. This is on public transport. I'm assuming their train system in Toronto. Indian woman urinates on public transport in Canada. Another passenger attacks the person filming for his lack of humanity. Just another day in multicultural West. Let's take a look. Again, I'll say what's being said in the video since the audio. The train, no big deal, right? No reason. Like just no, I'm gonna go. So this lady just said to the guy, "You're not filming her, right?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "Are you filming her?" He says, "Yes." Why not? He says, "Because she's a human being. You shouldn't be filming this." And she says, "You shouldn't be filming people without their consent. It's not fair to film her like that." It is fair. She's urinating on public transit. And she says, "You're a horrible person." Now, she just finishes her business, stands up, pulls up her pants, and walks away. She's left a new piss corner for everybody on the train. That's where we should send Justin Trudeau over to the piss corner when those things happen. It's disgusting. When we have cities filled with tents, when we have people, I did a story a few weeks ago where we talked about a woman who came here from India who was freezing to death on a train platform in Calgary because she came to this country with no money and had nowhere to go. So while Justin Trudeau wants to keep the borders open and say, come on into Canada, it's so great here. There's no base level of money you have to come in. There's no minimum requirements. People aren't told, we're sorry, if you don't have money, you're not going to be able to afford to live here. This is the problem. When we're paying skyrocketed carbon taxes, when our interest rates are through the roof, when people are paying upwards of $3,000 or more a month just for their mortgage, how are we supposed to pay higher taxes to house people from other countries that want to come here where we have nowhere to put them? This is disgusting. Canada is literally turning into a toilet. What is it Donald Trump used to call it? A third world shithole? This is what we're turning into. Major cities. I'm starting to see it all around Calgary now. Tents everywhere, especially near the downtown core. People popped up everywhere in tents. And I feel bad for people who have to do that. But at the same time, we should have the resources to help anybody who's willing to make something out of themselves, who wants to get back up on their feet, who wants to do better for themselves. There are countries out there like Japan where there's virtually no homelessness because if you're on the streets, they put you in jail. A lot of the problem right now, when you look at a big portion of the homelessness is immigration. Another portion of it is people who lost everything, people who can't afford their bills, people who have nowhere else to go. We've covered stories of people who worked in the armed forces who were living in their cars in BC. The armed forces. But a lot of what we have and what was existing in homelessness prior to Justin Trudeau's tirade, and one thing that he's pushing for when you look at legalizing hard drugs to be given away in safe consumption, is addiction. We have massive addiction problems in this country. When you look at British Columbia now saying it's safe to give kids fentanyl. Was it safe supply fentanyl? Are you out of your bloody minds? Give me a break. Like, this should be an eye-opening time for every single Canadian. Even if you vote Liberal, you should take a look outside your window and look at what your country is turning into and say, what are we doing here? When is this enough? Like during lockdowns, I looked at recommendations for medical procedure. We have to be very careful about how we word these things on social media, but I looked at it and said, if you want to sit on the fence and say what's right and what's wrong and people are terrible or they're dirty or whatever you want to, you go ahead. I will judge you on my own accords, but you're allowed and entitled to have your opinion. But that was an opinion based on a situation that was happening in the world. What I don't understand now is how you can be so Looney Tunes that you look out your window now, you see all these tents popping up everywhere, you see your neighbors losing their houses, you see kids going to school hungry, you see single parents who are not eating in order to feed their children, and you go, yeah, this is fine. Everything's great. No problem. Go for MAID, right? Let's get MAID. If you're not happy, just get MAID. This country is going to hell so fast. We can't have an election soon enough. Somebody mentioned it at the beginning of the stream in the chat. Are we going to see an April election? Boy, I hope so. Because we just can't do this anymore. We can't. Like, I'm not laughing. I know I'm smiling when I say this. It's more like a cynical smile. We're done. We're past the brink of sanity. What is it Clark Griswold says in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? We're at the threshold of hell. Like, this is literally where we are. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's get caught up in the chat. Jesus. Vikram saying we need to empower them. I almost said overpower them. Yeah, no violence, but yes. Jennifer jumping in, welcome into the stream. BC is a shithole. Well, yeah, and you know what sucks? I went to Vancouver for the first time last year. It was the first time I'd taken my wife to see the ocean. We drove out to the coast. It's such a gorgeous province to drive through. Like, we could have flown to Vancouver, but let's see the mountains. Let's drive through. Beautiful city. Such landscapes and gorgeous architecture in Vancouver. And it's just turned into a toilet. And nobody cares. I have to warn friends and family that Victoria isn't the same tourist destination. That's too bad. That was one place we wanted to get to that we never did. There's no such thing as safe supply. It's killing people. Yes. Yes. Snatch jumping in. Welcome into the channel, my friend. 212 fans tonight. Don't forget to help out the channel by giving Unacceptable Fringe a like and subscribe. I couldn't agree more. There's the comment of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kidding. I need a maid. I hate dishes. Listen, what's the old joke? If the dishwasher's broken, just slap the wife and tell her to get back to work. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Little dry humor. I do the dishes in my house. I shouldn't be saying that. No, my wife and I share the responsibilities. I just trying to give people a little bit of humor at a dark time. It's what we got here. Jennifer chiming in again. We live in Victoria. It's getting bad with the drugs and the crime. Every city's getting bad with the drugs and the crime. Calgary, if you watch the news, I don't know how much it was put out, unless you're on places like Twitter where a lot of people tend to spread their news. But Cian Bexty asking the infamous questions of Jody Gondek just before summer last year of how is it that you're letting the crime get so out of control this town that the premier, Danielle Smith, now has to step in and offer police help for you because you said to defund the police, and she walked away from the microphone. She wouldn't even answer him. She wouldn't answer him because she's guilty as sin. Danielle Smith had to step in and do the mayor's job for her because she wants to defund the police. And now you can't get on a C train without getting stabbed. There's people literally like, look, my wife goes to the train on weekdays to get to work, not because, you know, we can't afford for her to have a vehicle. It just makes sense with the cost of parking downtown versus the cost of riding the train. But when she goes past the heated shelter that's at the train station, there's people in there starting bonfires at 5 in the morning and shooting up with heroin. And nothing's being done about it. It never used to be that way. Somebody says, do your Homer Simpson impersonation. I don't do Homer Simpson. Oh, I do Peter Griffin. I'd be like, hey, guys, you want to know what grinds my gears? You YouTube. Anyway, let's catch back up in the chat here. Oh my God. There is a guy who air tags his car, tracked it down to the train yard, and then got a ticket for trespassing while talking to the guard the train leaves. I'm not sure what that was in regards to. Just talk like Peter the whole time. I'm not going to do that, but hey, that's Sarge over there. Thanks for your comment. Oh, he's talking about a stolen car. Okay. So where do we go from here? We talked about this on Thursday. We talked about where the country should go. Of course, I talked a lot about Calgary because I recklessly threw my hat in the ring to run for mayor. I said, there's no more of this. And I even said on that stream, for anybody who missed that stream before it was taken down, I got sick and tired of sitting around every 4 years saying, well, maybe we'll get a better candidate next time. Maybe we'll get somebody, because it seems like every time an election rolls around, every time another election comes about, we're saying, oh, well, which side of the devil do you want? Neither of them are good. You know, one's better than the other, but they're still both not really what I'd like to vote for. So maybe in 4 years, we'll see something good. I got sick and tired of saying that to the point where I said, you know what? Maybe I should be the guy. Maybe I should be the one who's giving people a good choice instead of all these other yahoos. And again, guys like Dan McLean, who is a councilman in Calgary, I've said good things about him. He has good ideas. But when I see certain practices put forward by him, I look at it and go, you still have good ideas, but you're behaving like the rest of them. You should be setting an example. You should be showing the people that you're not as corrupt and tied into the politics scale of things as everyone else. That's part of the reason I'm running. Politics and power does weird things to people. Nobody should seek power. Nobody. No man should seek power because it's too much for anyone. And that's the reason why I've said that term limitations should be put in place for any political leader. Too much power corrupts anybody. Anybody. The level of power that even a city has right now is disgusting. I put out a video last week talking about Jody Gondak's new bylaw in Calgary that charges you for bags at drive-thrus and for cutlery and for napkins and stir sticks, straws, those crappy paper straws you now have to pay for upon request. Even though the price of those things was already given to the retailer and reflected in the price of what you're buying. It's a cash grab because the mayor called a climate emergency. And Danielle Smith was on Twitter this weekend asking people's opinions. Do you think that they should get rid of these bylaws? And all she made a statement of saying is Edmonton and Calgary should reconsider those bylaws immediately if they care about their constituents. But the problem is that Danielle Smith doesn't have the authority to come into the city and tell them what to do. Why? There's that. I was thinking of that meme with the preacher. Why? It's heartbreaking to think that somebody can get into that mayor's seat and just, if they got enough support from their counselors, they can just essentially do what they want. They can do what they want. Jody Gondek's practices are very similar to Justin Trudeau's. Spend, 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 and then throw the taxes at the plebs and expect them to pick up the bill. We'll just charge them till they can't afford to live anymore. Because if they give up their homes, guess what? The city seizes them, right? Power is an interesting entity. It applies what is in your heart, whatever you are prior to election. It'll be even more so when you're office. And goes on to say you'll be exposed. So it's the thing about power. The thing you have to remember about power is you have to respect it. Roman Patriot. Wow. Super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. $1.99 super sticker. Thank you for the support on the channel. Really appreciate that. Power. The problem with power is that it corrupts. And I can tell you right now that if I ever took the mayor's chair in Calgary, when I take the mayor's chair in Calgary, I am not going to abuse that power. I don't care who comes into my office, who cries, who says, well, my friends are, I promised them this, or I don't care. I'm going to do, I will say the same thing Danielle Smith said about Alberta when she got in relativity to Calgary. And I've said it before on this stream. If I'm elected mayor, I have 1.7 million bosses. I'm not here to favor a company. I'm not here to favor any office that's given kickbacks. I'm not here to favor anybody. I'm here to do what's best for all 1.7 million people that live in this city, whether they voted for me or not. That's my job. And when it hits its limit, I get out. And hopefully somebody good takes over. Cryptomaria, with, I hope I pronounced that right, with becoming a YouTube member. Thank you for joining our large fringe majority. Just a reminder for anybody, next week, Saturday will be our live stream. Usually we do them on Sundays. I'll be doing a stream on Saturday. My dear friend Tamara Leach is coming here to hang out in the game room. She's coming for a weekend visit. We're very close friends. I'm looking forward to our visit. We're going to sit down here in the studio. We're going to have a chat. But just a reminder for members, I have 3 copies of Hold the Line, the Ballad of Tamara Leach, Unacceptable Fringes animated book about Tamara Leach and her experience at the Freedom Convoy. But they are all autographed by Tamara and signed by myself. And I'll be giving away 1 copy of that for the next 3 months. And in order to get into that draw, you must be a channel member. So if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to support the channel. And your name is automatically entered into the draw so long as you are a member at the time of drawing for those books. I'll be drawing once a month. But power corrupts. Power corrupts. My job as mayor, what I've often pledged in Calgary is we don't spend unless we have to. We're going to cut waste. I'm going to cut so much waste. On Thursday's stream, we went through all the NGOs, the non-government organization outlets in Calgary that get all this funding for nothing. Millions of dollars that go out for nothing. Wasted time on roadworks, wasted time in security details, nonprofit for transit. There's so many ways to get this city's money rolling in. And we're going to fix that. Once I cut all of that, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to give myself a raise like Jody Gondek did. I'm going to reduce taxes. Because if we're saving money, why the hell should you be paying more? We're going to cut business tax almost down to nothing. My plan is to cut it down to 0 if we can make it happen. Property tax would be the next thing on my agenda, to cut that down to as little as possible. Because what you pay versus what you get, I feel, are 2 separate things. 2 separate things. People are billed right now for green bins, blue bins, and their black garbage bins, which we pick up weekly for recycling, but every 2 weeks for garbage. We should just be picking up weekly, and the costs of your other city programs, if the city is enforcing those, should be included in the cost that you pay for your garbage pickup. It shouldn't be 3 separate entities. Things like that are the things I'm going to swallow up. Common sense. Calgary's not a business. It's a city. You know, recycling's a scam. Yeah, that's why I want to get rid of the charges. That's why I want to get rid of all the charges and fees that come with it. If the city wants to do it and feel good about themselves, that's on the city. That's on the city. But they should put their money where their mouth is if they want people to do it. If a city says, look, if you think it's not worth the time, hey, you don't have to participate, but we'll pick it up. If you put it outside, we'll pick it up. We'll pay for it. I would get our vets to help clean up everything. And you're standing by to help. Well, anybody who wants to help clean up, I'd happily get them involved with the cleanup. We should be talking to people that are homeless and looking for opportunities. We'll employ you. Let's clean up the town and we'll give you a paycheck and get you back on your feet. Use the resources you have. If you look at Calgary and artwork projects, we are always hiring people from Sweden or Italy or these weird places to bring in this bizarre artwork into Calgary. Start showcasing the talents of our own town. What about college kids who are taking architecture, engineering, artistry? Why aren't we getting them to all combine together and come up with a project that we can put Calgary's name on that costs a fraction of the price and looks just as good? There's no need to spend like we're the Kardashians. The city isn't a business, and it doesn't have a limitless credit card. Every penny that's spent is done on the backs of taxpayers. And while I'm going to be the first to admit that as mayor, there is no decision I'm going to make that's going to please all 1.7 million people. But I'm going to tell you right now, there won't be any reckless spending, and there certainly won't be anything where, I'm not considering the benefit of every Calgarian for every penny that's put out into the city's budget. It's the amount, if you were to sit down and look at the books of any major city and the amount of waste that goes through its doors every year in terms of write-offs, in terms of credits, allotted money, per diems, it would shock you just how many millions of dollars goes out the window to virtually nothing. I want transparency. If we're spending Calgarians' money on processes, we should have transparency as to where those costs have gone. There should be a website where Calgarians can log in and see this is what the labor cost. This is what materials cost. This was the time length we were given. This is what it's going to affect the taxpayer, but these are the benefits that are coming with these projects. These are the things they're going to do for people. This is how many people we've employed doing these things. There should be a central hub for people to always be informed what's going on with their city without closed doors. It's not the city's money, it's the people's. As mayor of this town, I would hold open town halls on a regular basis, either quarterly or semi-annually, where I'd rent out something large like the TELUS Convention Center and say, whoever wants to come from the city, come on in. Come on in. Maybe do multiple sit-downs if the crowds are too big. Come voice your concerns. Come voice about what you want to happen in the city, where you think our money should go. If you think anything's being wasted, your input matters. It's the people who suffer and run the country, not the elites. It's what you have to remember when you have these jobs, when you're in any position of power in government. You're put there by the people. You're there for the people, and the people are the ones that are paying for this. You're just a representative of the people. You're the voice of the people. 1.7 million people can't be asked every day, what should we do? So you're there to represent them. You're there as a herald for the people that put you there to say, this is what's necessary. This is what I believe the people want. And if the people turn around and say, hey, we're not happy with that, okay, we'll do better next time. The problem with politics in Calgary over the last decade or more is that anytime that people are saying we're not happy, mayors are and city councilors saying we don't care. Shut up. We're done. I would like to see safer streets for children. I would like to see better projects, better programs for kids. Um, if people are homeless and looking for work, let's utilize that. Let's find ways to get them back on their feet so that the city can heal, so that we can get back to better days. If you ever drive around Calgary, I know there's so many people here chiming into the stream that are from outside of Alberta, even. If you ever drive through Calgary or if you ever look at videos of Calgary, it's such a beautiful city. It really took me back just how amazing this town was when I came to it in the 90s. It's the people that are in it that are making it. And when I say the people that are in it, I'm talking about the bureaucrats that are making it a hellhole. Suzanne Eckstein becoming a new member of the channel. Suzanne, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome into the large fringe majority. Appreciate that. Cops need to be better educated than the meatheads. So I don't want any jackboots in my town. I've already stated when I run for mayor, I want a full audit of the Calgary Police Service. And anybody who's not here to do their job can go. Any corruption can go. I want honest, hardworking cops. Those officers are paid pretty damn well for what they do. I want honest cops. Romanian Patriot, the 90s was the true golden decade. Look, I loved when I moved to Calgary. I moved here from Winnipeg in 1995. I was 15 years old and I didn't know what to expect of this city. But coming from a city that was losing its hockey team to a town where winters aren't as harsh, the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, are less than a 2-hour drive. The United States border is less than a 2-hour drive. The prairies are less than a 2-hour drive. West Edmonton Mall is less than a 3-hour drive. Like, no matter which direction you go, there's something great to see. There's somewhere new to explore. And the city was so vibrant and colorful and healthy. It was green. There were trees everywhere. People were happy. People on the road would let you in when you were driving and smile and wave. And I said, what a change it was from Winnipeg. But it feels like since about 2010, that slowly started to deteriorate. Your neighborhoods aren't safe anymore. Kids can't go out and run around and play. Tell me in the chat if you live in a neighborhood where you'd let your kids under 10 years of age run around after the sun goes down, or even during the daytime for that matter, without having to be there by their side. When I was growing up, even in Winnipeg, I could get on my bike and leave the house and go out for an hour and just call my parents to say where I was and go play hide and go seek with a bunch of kids on the block and just come home when the lights went on and everybody else went home. And my parents were secure to believe that our neighborhood was safe. People can't hide their failure behind the wheel. It's obvious for everyone to see. Yeah. Freestyle saying it all started in 2010 drastically. I remember playing street hockey in 1996 with the family and friends. Yeah. Like I grew up doing the same thing. Everybody throws their sticks in and has a good time. Vikram saying never in Montreal, not once. Too many PDF files. Winnipeg tough. Listen, I love Winnipeg. I love my Jets, and I've always said Winnipeg's home. In fact, I'm headed back to Winnipeg in March. I try to get out every year so I can visit my mother's graveside and catch up with family. I'm looking forward to going back. I'm really hoping that I can catch a Jets game while I'm there. I'll always love Winterpeg. It's always going to be home, but Calgary is just such a beautiful city. I don't think I could leave. I let my granddaughter run around. She's okay. Okay. I do. I didn't even have a doorknob on the house for 3 months. Just installed it 2 weeks ago. Jeez, that's crazy. I do miss the days of being gone for hours on bikes, streetlights on. It was time to go in. See, that's and what's changed was the internet, right? I was talking to my wife over the weekend about where the internet has changed things because she asked, I forget what she asked, if I thought something was going to go away in terms of retail. And I said, it's all going to go away. Nowadays, if you want to shop, do it online. Get your groceries, order them online. If you want to meet people, do it online, right? Buy products, you go to Amazon. You know, you want to watch videos, you go to YouTube. If you want entertainment, stream it. Oh, she was asking about movie theaters. Do you think movie theaters are going to go away? I said, absolutely, they're going to go away. I don't even know what's playing in movie theaters right now. And I used to go to the movie theater at least once a month before COVID. We'd go to Costco, get the cheap movie tickets, and we'd go once a month. And we looked forward to it. That was our cheap outing. Not anymore. It's all going to be gone. The problem with that is what people don't realize is once that's gone, there's no getting it back. There's no getting it back. There's some people out there that are like, good, I want it to go away because I just like sitting on my couch all day. Every introvert in the world will be happy when that stuff goes away. But once it's gone, it's gone. I said the same thing when people were talking about here with the Flames saying they were going to leave. And I said, you don't want your team to leave because as soon as it goes, you're going to miss it. It happened in Winnipeg and they were darn lucky to get their team back. Look at the Nordiques. Quebec City will never get the Nordiques back. Ever. You don't know what you're missing till it's gone. And when theaters are gone, when restaurants are gone, when you're all stuck in your homes, where are people going to meet each other or have families, get married, have a connection? It's not going to happen anymore. The smartest thing people could do, and I hate saying this as somebody who makes his living on the internet, but the smartest thing people could do is put their phones down. Shut everything off. Go outside. Start going out. Just go to parks. Go for walks. Go be around other people. When these places shut everything down, that's when they have control. It's completely off topic, but it's the same thing that's happening right now in the world of video games. I love video games. That's how I unwind. I don't know if anybody can tell. I kind of like video games. But Microsoft this week just announced they're not making physical games anymore for their Xboxes. It's all digital. That's going to shut down retail. They currently have a thing called Game Pass where you pay a monthly fee like Netflix and they add games to it every month and say, here, you can just stream, download, and play these games. And all you have to do is pay your monthly fee. Once everything's gone, everybody looks at it right now and says, what a great deal that is. And it is. It's a good deal. But once everything's gone, if they want to charge you whatever they want to charge you, they can. Now, a good friend of mine said, I don't think they're going to make it ridiculous. But I said, yeah, but they've got you. They've got you by the good old chestnuts. Once that happens, they can tell you this is the price. If Amazon shuts down all the retailers tomorrow and even Walmart is gone, Amazon can charge whatever they want for something because it's supply and demand. If the movie theaters are gone, where are you going to get your entertainment? Well, streaming services, and they'll charge you an arm and a leg for that entertainment. You guys remember when VHS first hit the scene and movies were like $300 until video stores came along? I don't remember those days, but I remember hearing stories about those days. I was only about 3 years old when that came around. I was born in 1980, so when VHS and Betamax first hit, the video store was a very popular place because of the cost of getting a hold of movies. Beta was way better than VHS. It's when you shut everything down, people look at, there is convenience, and I'm not going to lie. I use a lot of these platforms for convenience. I use Amazon to buy things because, hey, I pay for Prime. I might as well get, stuff delivered to my house. I don't have to go out and look for it at stores. But like if you go, for example, into even a Best Buy, there's times where I have to get equipment for the show where I'll need some cables or I'll need some lights. I was looking at a microphone stand a few weeks ago, and you go into the Best Buy and say, hey, I'm looking for this stuff. And the store's almost empty aside from like kitchen appliances. And they go, well, we don't have any of this stuff. You'll have to order it online. We don't have it in store. Well, then what's the point of the store? They said, exactly. The guy there told me the store is probably going to go out, like most Best Buy stores will probably shut down within the next 5 years. He figures. I went in there when my DSLR camera broke to try and get a new camera or a new lens for the lens that busted down. And they said, we don't carry them here. I said, well, you've got a case over here of Sony cameras. Yeah, but we don't carry any of them. They're just empty boxes. You have to buy them online. Well, then why are you here? Exactly. Why are we here? It's happening more and more. And it's scary. It's scary to think that's where we're headed. A very dystopian, closed off society. And once that happens, what happens to our elections? What happens to people's ability to make a living? There's so many people now that make a living from home. They don't go anywhere. I'm so busy with American Patriots, I don't have time to listen here. We apparently don't have real men. Well, maybe we need some. It's the problem I worry about is when people talk about population control. When you think about what's really being pushed throughout Canada, throughout North America with these Chinese ideologies of stop reproducing. A lot of people say that's why MAID's going to change in March. That if you're just depressed, you can go and get assisted death as of March 17th. It's now classified, and you don't even have to get a doctor to sign off on it anymore. And if, for example, my daughter as a teenager wants to go in and say, I'm just fed up, my boyfriend dumped me, I'm depressed, and she signs the papers, guess what? My wife and I can't intervene. I shudder for the days that my kids are teenagers and think like that. How many of you had a breakup in your lives or something bad happen in your teens where you thought the world was ending and it wasn't? That's population control. And once they take away everything in society, everything fun, everything that you can do for entertainment, everywhere you can go to shop, everywhere you can go to socialize, everywhere you can go to eat, and everything's on a computer screen, how's that going to play out for elections? How are people going to reproduce and have families? Marriage will be a forgotten institution because nobody will have the structure for marriage. Nobody goes out and meets anybody anymore and has a connection. It's all booty calls on Tinder. You can intervene. It's called a shine well. Legally, you can't. Gives me chills as someone who once thought about it. Yeah. Look, I've said it before when I've covered it on the channel. I've had times in my life where, as a manic depressive and as somebody with severe social anxiety complex, I've been in many states. In fact, I don't like talking about it. This past summer, I took some medication for anxiety that didn't work well with me. I had some really nasty side effects. And I went out for a walk one night and just thought, yeah, I'm going to walk on the highway. I don't like talking about these things on stream, but I want to iterate just how easy it can happen. I actually had to stop while on that walk and say, what am I doing? This isn't me. This isn't who I am. And I had to take a step back. There was a time over the summer where my YouTube content was only coming out about 3 times a week because I wasn't stable to make content because of these drugs. that I was switched over to. And I had to get off of them and go to my doctor and say, this happened. And he says, oh, well, suicidal thoughts is part of a side effect from that. It's a good thing you stopped taking it. Because I'm not that guy. But who's to say if I had a bad day on that medication and something like MAID was available that I don't just waltz in and sign some papers? It's such a dangerous thing that we're toying with. Such a dangerous thing. People saying don't take meds. Listen, medication, the right medication has fixed my life. It has fixed many aspects of my life. Part of the reason I can sit and talk to you guys on this camera when I couldn't a few years ago is because of medication. If you have a doctor that genuinely cares about you, if you have a doctor that cares about your actual health and not just about his paycheck or her paycheck, they should be getting you on the right medications because it can benefit your life. There are procedures. You can sit and talk to a professional person. I talk to a counselor on a regular basis, and not because I'm mentally unstable, but because it's very healthy. It's covered, so we might as well use those benefits. That's what my wife always says. If we have the benefits, let's use them. So whenever something's bothering me, I talk with this counselor and say, this is what's on my mind. This is how I'm trying to deal. I'm not the smartest man alive, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. I'll freely admit that on this channel. And I don't know everything. So sometimes I have to consult somebody with a degree and say, what do I do here? And it's healthy. But there are answers to all of these problems. There's therapy, there's drugs, there's people, there's communities, there's connections. When you hit rock bottom, the only place you can go is up. And a lot of people sometimes don't possess the mental stability to understand that with themselves, to realize things can get better, and they will. Tomorrow's another day. Again, I don't like making my personal MacGuffins known on the channel. I don't like putting that stuff out there, especially running for mayor. But it's important to talk about these things. Even a guy like myself who has a wonderful community, who has people say, I respect your opinion. Thank you for your views. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm very grateful for that. Those things are a huge pick-me-up on days where you maybe question, am I doing the right thing? And I sometimes have to realize there's a lot of people who go on online platforms and try to get even to where this channel is, and they can't after years. I'm in a very, very good place right now, community-wise, people-wise, but those bad days happen even to me. They happen to Jordan Peterson. They happen to Danielle Smith. They happen to Tucker Carlson. He has bad days, I'm sure. Not every day is a good day. But there's days where you have to say, it's going to get better. MAID isn't the answer. And I really, really, really hate and struggle to think about the families that are going to lose loved ones after March 17th. Thank you for this venue. This is my first time listening to your live. I'm enjoying this very much. I appreciate that. But look, honesty is the best policy. What you have to remember, there are always people that are going to care about what's going on in your life. I've said to my wife a million times over, because she was concerned in the summer. She says, are you going to do something to yourself? And I said, no. And I said, and the one thing that you can rest on is that there's 3 children in this house that I could never let them live with that. I'd never want them to see that. I'd never want them to have any part of that. And I would never do that to them. So even if I'm at my lowest, I couldn't do that to my kids. But not everybody's in that situation. Suzanne Eckstein, thank you for the $5 super chat. My God, so generous. I appreciate that. Thank you. Certainly not required, but definitely appreciated. But there's MAID is such. I've said before when we've done videos covering it that I think it's beneficial. I think it's beneficial for people with terminal illnesses, people that, again, I had a family member who was given 2 weeks and they took assistance because it was painless. They didn't want to suffer. And they were nearing the point. Like here's the thing about when you're passing away. You're not conscious until the very end. There's usually about 48 hours where you're in this deep sleep before you pass away, unless it's something sudden. So he was nearing that point and said, I want assistance because I don't want to have pain. And I agreed with it. I think quality of life, those situations demand it. Jesus, Choosy, thank you for the $2. My goodness, you guys, you guys are so generous tonight. I can't thank you enough. I appreciate that. I think for quality of life, those things are important, and I agree with assistance for those situations. I agree in compassion, and if a doctor says this is it, I think it's fair to give that to people when they're requesting it and they're cognitive enough to ask for it. But to say, hey, I'm having a bad day, I can't pay my bills. You guys remember the news story that broke about the guy who says, I'm homeless and I don't want to live on the streets, so I'm going to go get MAID? Like, that's not a reason. And what's really bad is that doctors were prepared to sign off for that gentleman. I don't even know if there was a follow-up, if that guy ever went through with it, if he was allowed to. But what really sucks is that there was no services going to him saying, hey, you don't need to go that extreme, pal. We can help get you back on your feet. We can get you in a shelter. We can get you on a work program. We can do something to help. Instead of, yeah, just go sign your life away. That's fine. Literally, go sign your life away. If men doing housework actually makes, well, come on. I'm not even going to chime in on that one. That's Maryland coming in. We have to accept that the Lord gives us our strength. I don't have time or patience. It's not my patience to listen to weakness. The Lord gives us strong people. I agree. It all starts with arresting Justin Trudeau and Freeland. So you have to remember that these ideas aren't purely theirs. There's more people attached to that. There's the WEF. There's investors. Like, what you should really do, and one thing I should actually do a video on that I'd be interested to, is who's paid out for MAID? Who's benefiting? There's always a beneficiary when it comes to that. When it comes to that kind of process, whether it's the machines they use, whether it's the shot they give you, whether it's whatever you take in order to get that procedure done, who's benefiting and how are they connected to the government is what I'd be wanting to look into. And I haven't yet. In fact, I don't think any channels have yet. And maybe that's something I should look into. It's one thing to ask for it when your time is up. It's another. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Look, the same question I asked during lockdowns. Who's benefiting from this? Where's the financial interest? Because if you're the prime minister of a country, you don't go destroying it just simply to make a statement or to virtue signal. Follow the money. And look at Justin Trudeau's net worth. And when it went up as much as it did, tenfold. It went up during lockdowns. It's all planned. The elites are evil. We're the carbon they want to get rid of. Yeah. Well, they've now said breathing. Have you guys heard this? They've said breathing, you emit carbon when you're breathing. Now, they haven't said they're going to limit people's oxygen, but hey, I could see it. If they're going to talk about farting cows, they're definitely going to talk about your breathing. You guys, we just need to kill some of you because we want to put less carbon into the atmosphere, right? You still pay for funerals. You don't just pay for funerals, you're charged tax when you die. Do you know that? There's an actual death tax. It's crazy. Well, so Tony, you've got a great point, but you know what? I think if he wants everybody to get it, he should show everybody how it works and be the first volunteer. That's for sure. Nina's husband is a CEO for a mass company, and look what. Yeah, yep, that does it. That does it. You should come take the mayoral position here in Grand Prairie. So you know what's funny? That may become a reality because I'm telling you right now. Before I get into that, Marco, thank you for the $2. My goodness. Again, very generous. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, so my wife and I have talked because when the Calgary election gets started, you think you've seen it all with Trump. I've already said I'm going balls to the wall. I'm not going to apologize for anything that I say during that campaign, and I'm going out for blood. That, in the sense, not physically, but in the sense that um, I'm going to expose these losers. I'm gonna take them all to account. I'm gonna say things they don't want to hear. I'm gonna say everything everyone's thinking, but nobody wants to say out loud. And when it's done, if I don't win the mayor's chair, I'll probably have to pack up and leave Calgary. So it's you never know where I'll end up. It might be a small town, and I'll run for mayor there. Who knows? Maybe Grand Prairie starts to look good. I don't know. I know my wife and I have talked about this small town outside of Calgary called Okotoks. We have friends there. Um, Even places like Sylvan Lake. I've only told my wife I'll only go to Sylvan if I can get a boat. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. It's Vikram saying he'll be my bodyguard. I appreciate that. I am going to need security because let me tell you something. Um, Even when I talk to some of the bigger pillars of Calgary, they've warned me very heavily. You're going to have a bullseye on your back as soon as you run. They are not going to want you in this race, and they're not going to. So it's going to be interesting to see where things go. Again, I'm not hiding from nothing. I'm not backing off. And again, I'm very reserved on this channel because YouTube policies and things like that. But you want to see unhinged, boy, come watch the campaign. I'll post what I can on social media when that gets started. But yeah, the gloves are coming off. And I'm not going to apologize for loving my city. I'm not going to apologize if what I say comes across as rude or offensive to those who have their noses up in the air. And I'm certainly not going to tone it down for the sake of being filled with pleasantries as to how politicians usually try to do things and say, well, I'll respectfully disagree with your opinion. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit there and say, you're all crooks. You're all pigs. You should all be in jail. You have no place in this city. Pack your bags and get out. That's how that election's going to go. And I'm not unhinged. There we go. We'll start putting that on shirts. Unhinged fringe. There we go. Speaking of shirts, have you guys seen the ads for Straight Goods that we've been putting on videos this week? If you've missed it, I'm hoping that my order comes in later this week because Tamara's got some stuff on order with my order. So hopefully her and I can sit on the stream next Saturday and show off some of those designs because my God, Straight Goods has done a very good job with what I wanted on the Unacceptable Fringe line over at Straight Goods Clothing. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, head over, take a look. We had Chris Vanderbros, the owner of Straight Goods, on the channel last Sunday when we talked a little bit about his experience. And yeah, maybe we need an unhinged fringe. Sure, maybe that's what we should start calling Thursday night streams. I know a lot of people said they enjoyed the Thursday night stream as well as Sunday, so maybe we should stick to that. Maybe we should do 2 streams a week. We can do the weekly wrap on Sunday and unhinged fringed on Thursdays. I don't know what you guys think about that. Maybe we'll do that. It'll be a lot of people saying they like the unhinged fringe. That's yeah. Let's maybe I'll get some designs going for that. What's Roman Patriot saying here? I'm copping a t-shirt in February. Can't wait to get mine. Oh, I appreciate that. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, on those, we're going to have limited run shirts. I believe monthly, and I'll be giving those out to one member every month as well. One of those shirts, so that you guys are getting something limited. Again, in order to get into those draws, all our draws on the channel, I'll be giving things away all the time just because that's my thanks for supporting the channel. So in order to get into those draws, again, you must be a member of the channel. So if you want to support, you click that join button down below. It's $5 a month, and it gets your name automatically entered into everything that we give away here on the channel. But just a quick reminder, I am not giving away any arcade machines. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but it's not happening. But I will be giving away books, shirts, and who knows what else. What else comes our way that we'll be handing out. But perfect name for a Thursday night show. Hey, there we go. Maybe we'll stick to that. Maybe we'll stick to Thursdays and Sundays. I'm gonna see if we can get it worked out. If not, we'll rename the Sunday Night Weekly Wrap to Unhinged Fringe. I like that one. He's taking arcade machines to his office. I've already said that if I win the mayor's chair, this pinball machine is going to my office, just so I got a way to blow off steam in between meetings. It's gonna be great. I don't care about swag. It's awesome, but I appreciate all the work you do. Well, I appreciate that, but just it's a way to show my support or my appreciation for your support by giving away stuff. So I understand there's people that don't care about that stuff, and that makes me appreciate it all. That's why I say I have one of the best communities on the platform, and I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I want to give something back for everybody who donates to the channel or gives to the channel. I think freely. I'm glad you do. Became a YouTube member. Welcome to the large fringe majority here on the channel. It's what's Megan saying? I want a shirt that says "Don't drink" and LGBTQ LAID. Don't drink and get men's tampons. That's did you guys see that video we put out yesterday about Trudeau's clapping like a seal? I don't know what he was drinking before the women's hockey game where he so abruptly entered the women's change room twice, I might add. But what is it we said at the beginning of that video? Cocaine's a hell of a drug. What an embarrassment. Like, this is the thing. It's fun to laugh. It's fun to laugh at that stuff, especially on Canadian channels, but it's so humiliating at the same time to think that that's what the world sees of us. That's what the world sees out of our prime minister. We're a laughing stock. It used to be you could go to other countries with our flag sewn on your backpacks and people would respect you. Now they see you and say, those are the guys that give out tampons in the men's room, right? Like, we're a laughing stock of a country because of that PDF file that's running the country. And what a large PDF that man is. I hear he's on a list. I don't know, though. We haven't had that verified 100%. It's the seal clapping and blackface was absolutely hilarious. I appreciate that. Even the kids were embarrassed. You could see it. And again, we covered that in the video. When they were in the change room, like, you can see his son does not want to be there. Like, he's almost like he's got his hand on the side of his face and he's looking to the side and looking down, and he's just completely embarrassed to be in the room with his father. I mean, come on. No one cares. It's of course we care. It's funny. Here's the thing. You have to laugh in the dark times. You have to find some, like, I don't like talking about Justin Trudeau. Nobody wants to listen about Justin Trudeau. But you got to laugh. Inappropriate for them to be in the girls' change room. Yeah, I agree with that one. Who got the tampon contract? I'd like to know that. They're making hand over fist right now, aren't they? That's, yeah, Trudeau. Trudeau and Singh are trending right now on Twitter, I might add. Planning to change the rules of our voting system. Have you guys heard about that? The electoral reform that they're teasing in this country? You know darn well that when this is a man who's been teasing electoral reform since 2015, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to change the way elections are held in Canada. I'm gonna make it more equal." Yeah, I'm sure him and Jagmeet Singh really have Canadians' interests at heart when redesigning how elections are run in Canada right before one's about to be called. In fact, in fact, they're going to uh, fix the voting system in their image, and then Jagmeet will say, "Oh, I'm leaving the coalition and calling an election," just so they can test it out. I'm surprised he didn't call it gentle neutral change room there. He knows he'll lose, so he's changing the rules. Well, and that's what's scary. Although, again, with Pierre's polling numbers, I don't think it's possible. I don't think there's any way, unless it's Dominion. And again, if you think Pierre would just sit back and go, "Yeah, well, we're not going to question the legitimacy of things," but they'll just say he's MAGA again. Like, it's going to be interesting. This year's going to be very interesting. When are you accepting campaign donations? We'll donate. So, Mike, I appreciate the question. Again, I'm starting to get into the planning phases, and I have to look at all of that and the legitimacy of where those donations go. As soon as they do, I will have an update on this channel. This channel is going to be the campaign headquarters for this mayoral run, so all updates will run through this channel. And I may even start doing a live stream once a week, just strictly for mayoral stuff, so that people who live in Calgary can tune in, get all the information they want to, and ask questions or voice their concerns. So keep your eyes glued to the channel. That will be coming. I know people have been asking for a long time, and I really appreciate everybody's enthusiasm to get in on helping with that very uphill battle that it's going to be to get into the mayor's office. But as soon as I know something, and as soon as we have something set up, I will keep you guys posted, and I really appreciate you asking. Um, Back to Pierre, with the numbers right now, every other party could team up and would still lose to the Conservatives. But um, that's where you'd have to call some form of an audit with ballots. I was going to say an inquiry. CB, what transformer are you wearing? I'm wearing Megatron. It's good old. Here, can you guys see that? Got this Megatron hoodie, and I like that it's got the. I don't know if you guys can see it on the hood, like the little square background, kind of like it had on the cartoon. My wife got me this for Christmas. She got me a couple Transformers outfits like this for Christmas. She got me. You guys remember Soundwave? The Transformer had the cassette tapes that popped out of his chest. She got me a Soundwave football jersey and a Devastator hockey jersey. Unfortunately, the sizing on those things were way off, and you could have fit about 3 of me inside of them. So I had to send those back, and I'm hoping to get those back soon because I'd really like to wear those on. I'd like to wear those on the channel, but I had to get them more fit to my body because I could have used them as a blanket. It was crazy. I'd consider a winter in Calgary if you were a mayor. Hey, listen, I'd want you to stay here permanently if I was mayor. Um, Nerd. I don't care. I grew up in the 80s. This is the stuff I love. Here's the thing. When my wife married me, she said the one thing she loves about me more than anything is that I'm a big kid. And that's one thing you guys can always bank on is no matter what you see on this channel, um, I I play with toys with my kids. I play video games with my kids. I know more about cartoons than some of my kids do. In fact, just about every cartoon series from the 80s or 90s that was classic, I own in some form or another and sit down and watch with my children on a regular basis. I am a big kid. I can still be responsible. I can still do things like an adult, but I love doing kid things. I never. What was it? Toys R Us used to say, "I don't want to grow up because I'm a Toys R Us kid." That's the way I've been my whole life. Chris with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Have you heard about the election reform the Liberals and NDP are working on? What's your thoughts? Well, we were just talking about that, Chris. But welcome into the stream. We're just talking about Jagmeet and Trudeau. That this is going to be tomfoolery. I do have a video coming out this week talking about more of my in-depth thoughts about this, but I think what you're going to see is something akin to what happened when they called the insurrection of the United States, where there's a little bit of meddling going on when it comes to voting. This is it's good but bad at the same time because what this tells everybody is Trudeau's panicking. He's in panic mode. Um, he's scared because he knows his days are numbered. Jugmeat's scared because he knows he's out of a job. And if an election for some reason without him gets called, I don't know how, unless his complete party did a 180 on him and all voted and crossed the floor or something over to the Conservatives, um, he'll lose his pension. They have dead people voting. They've always got dead people voting. Can Toys R Us kids be mayors? Yeah, they can. They can be fun mayors too. Let me tell you something. Christmas time, no kid is going to go without in this town. I'll tell you that. I will tell you that right now. It's you talk about wasted money. The one thing I'd be doing every year, in fact, I would be encouraging all councilmen to be taking a portion of their salary to donate to kids that don't. I do it every year here, every year through Unacceptable Fringe. Usually around Black Friday time, I'll go out with the wife. We'll usually pack a couple of shopping carts full of toys. And I every year, aside from the toys that I donate, I always tell my kids to pick out one toy that they want more than anything. They usually end up still getting it for Christmas, but whatever they want, they end up putting in the cart. And we donate that to a needy family, multiple needy families, especially this year with how much people are struggling. It was so important. We usually spend a couple thousand every year to do that. And it's been my ultimate pleasure to do that. But once I'm in charge of this city, I'll be ensuring that every child in this city, to the best of my ability, is looked after with at least one gift of some kind, because we're not going to have people go through that in my town. That's not happening. And I'll tell you something. We'll be doing lots of opportunities for kids to come to City Hall and open their toys and play with toys with me because I want to play with toys. I'm sure somebody's going to clip that, Joe, and put it into a soundboard because Joe is good for doing that. He likes to ride my tail on anything that I screw up on in my streams audio wise. I'm sure that's coming my way. In fact, I bet he's doing it right now. But I can't wait to have kids around City Hall opening gifts and playing with toys. That's going to be fun. But I will say right off the bat, I am not a PDF file. I just like being a kid. Every time somebody starts talking about politics, we'll start talking about the order of Malta and September 11th Christmas deal. No blood oath required. There we go. Would it be interesting if both parties were deregulated or deplatformed? Apologizing for not knowing the correct term. What happened to the Liberal Party pre-Justin? I don't remember the year. So that's an interesting concept, Michelle. And I don't know the term for that either, but I know what you're talking about. I don't know if that could happen. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. Start a loonie for kids. If half of Calgary gave a loonie, that's a lot for presents. Yeah. Yeah. We'd start some kind of charity that goes to children and the city would donate some money on that behalf. Or we talk to the people again and say, would everybody mind if their property taxes went up $1 every year and we took $1 out of the property tax fund to donate to a charity so that kids are looked after at Christmas? Look, either way, there are ways to do things that if people were in agreement, we would make sure everyone's looked after. That's the thing about running for mayor in Calgary. And I've said it a million times over. I'm not doing it because I have some lust for power. I love this city and I want to look after people in this city. And I want to make sure that everybody's treated the way I'd like to be treated and the way I would treat my family. And that's with compassion. That's with resources. That's with caring. That's to make sure that our fellow man is looked after while also maintaining order and justice in our city and making sure people aren't using laws to pad their pockets or do anything corrupt or run businesses out of town. I've said it before that when I become mayor of this town, it'll be like an invisible barrier placed around this town, making it a safe haven from anything woke, from anything destructive, from anything full of corruption. This is going to be a clean city We will dismiss Jody Gondek's ridiculous climate emergency on day one. Taxes will immediately be lowered because the first thing I'm going to do when I step in that office is say, what are we getting rid of to lower taxes? Where's the overhead? Get some efficiency experts in here, office space style. I want to know where we can cut the money. What is it Ryan Seacrest used to say? We got to cut the shit. Then we're going to get rid of that stupid bylaw that allows people to change in women's change rooms that don't belong there. We're going to protect the kids. We're going to make sure that every child in this city doesn't have to be worried about going out and having their minds poisoned or people dangling their bits in their face. It's not going to happen in my town. This town is going to get away from Looney Tunes and back to reality. Patty, thank you so much for the 279. Love the channel. I love that you love the channel. Thank you for hanging out here with us. It's great to see you here. If you self-censor, you'll never get elected. I'm not planning to self-censor. When did I ever say I would self-censor? The We Charity didn't help people. Well, that's the difference, is that the We Charity was put in the trust of two little boys named the Keelburgers. I will be in charge of the charity when it comes to this town. When we do a charity here, if it's a Christmas charity, I will be in charge of that. I will disperse that. I will have somebody appointed under my guise to watch every dollar that comes in and account for every dollar that goes out. And I will be transparent with it as well and say, City of Calgary, here's on the site, I'm going to put in every dollar that was raised, every dollar that was spent. And I will ensure that every dollar goes towards what we say it is. It's not going to go towards paying people. It's not going to go towards costs of operating things. It's, if this money says it's going to toys, it all goes to toys. Every dime. That's how it works. And if we don't end up spending every dime that year, it just stays in there till the next year. It doesn't get touched. No more scams. No more backdoor deals. No more benefits for people. We want people in our city to be happy. We want people to have a reason to stay in Calgary. We want businesses to come here. We want businesses to fill the downtown again and thrive. I want Calgary to be a haven of industry for people who are ready to work, for people who are ready to get their hands dirty and say, I'm ready to do my 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. I want my overtime. I want to be able to go on vacation once a year. I want to be able to save up in my RSPs. I want to be able to invest. I want to be able to buy a home, hopefully after Pierre makes them more affordable. I want to be able to put my roots here. I want opportunities for my kids when they grow up. That's what I'm focusing on. Think of ride out on a horse? No. I'm coming in on semi-trucks. I'm bringing a convoy to Calgary. And we're going to come into downtown and say that it's time for a change. You mean the opposite of the Trudeau Foundation? Yeah. Yeah. Vikram says it best. Cleanup time. Cleanup time. We're going to have us a convoy. Yeah. Ride in like a cowboy. No. This is the unhinged fringe. We're coming in big red. I'm going to pull up to City Hall with Chris Barber, Tamara Leach, and a megaphone. And I'm going to tell Jody Gondek, pack your bags because that office is mine. And we're cleaning up the town. We're bringing freedom back to Canada, to Calgary. I was going to say Canada. They tried to bring freedom back to Canada, and Justin Trudeau stomped people with the horses. We're going to bring freedom back to Calgary. My ancestors would smile. Well, look, what I'm talking about isn't so far-fetched from just being a good human being. And that's what's so alarming about the state of this country right now. And that's one thing that we all forget is that if we all just got back to normal and started treating each other with respect and dignity and the way we're supposed to, if we handled ourselves in a cordial manner and stopped with this, I'm offended or I identify or I view that, just live your life. This world could just go right back to normal. But the problem is that we've allowed this almost secret society of lunatics to run the asylum. And now there's a lot that we have to clean up. And Pierre's doing his part by running. He's trying to clean up what he can. But Jordan Peterson said it, and it's what made the alarm go off in my head. It starts at the municipal level. Let's make a change. Hopefully other cities see that change. Hopefully other cities start to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run in my town. I'm going to make a difference. And hopefully we can see some change. Hopefully this country can start to see some change. I'm very hopeful that when Pierre gets in, we see taxes get axed. I hope that we see tent cities pack up. I hope we see drugs get off our streets. I hope that we see safety return to families. I hope that we see affordability come back to Canadian citizens. There's no more of this. If you have a good education and a good job, you're allowed to work just enough to be even every 2 weeks when you're done paying your bills. How is that fair? You shouldn't have to be able to work just to get by. You should be able to live your life. You only get one. Why is anybody who works in a government office more important than the person who's working 60 hours to make sure that their kids have access to things? Who said they're worth more? Not me. When I talk about toy campaigns for kids, I can tell you right now, I'll be donating a large portion of my salary to charities like that when I become mayor, because I think the mayors are paid too damn much. They're pigs at a trough. They're just taking a benefit. They are not worth what they're being paid. I've already, Romanian Patriot, I've already said this is going to be the war of the woke. And somebody said it earlier, the town ain't big enough for me in Gondek. This town's fed up with Gondek. She can pack her bags anytime. Either way, that office is mine. I will sit upon the throne of Calgary and I will tell people the city now belongs to you again, the people, not to those who put themselves on a pedestal. The problem with other people, even counselors that I agree with, I've said before, I like Dan McLean. I like his ideas. But the problem is they all come from the same pack. They're all people who have had too much power, too much accessibility. They're allowed to go golfing when they should be working. They're allowed to schmooze with people and talk about deals they're going to do for each other. They're allowed to help their buddies. I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to clean up. I'm there as another Calgarian who says, I know what Calgarians want because I'm one of them. Less than 2 years ago, my wife and I had to decide, do we pay our utility bill or do we put food in the fridge? How do we downsize our costs? How do we pay our mortgage or are we going to lose our house? That's the kind of person you need in that office because those are the people making the decisions that affect your life the most. Not somebody who's been a lawyer for 20, 30 years and has been bred with a silver spoon in their mouth. Not a home developer who's looking for more bonuses. Not a lawyer who's lied his way to the top or another bureaucrat who spent his life in politics. They've never known what struggle is. Will you answer what question without the bullshit? I'll answer any question with what but yeah, Angry Canadian, it's got to be a reasonable question. It can't be something so dumb and blatant. Like, you got to ask me a reasonable question. I didn't see the question earlier. Is it up here? He won't answer the question. Where is it? Where is it? Will you answer the damn question? God damn. So you got to understand, I'm not always looking at the chat. Will you answer it or will you be a douchebag? Is that the question? I'll answer it. I'll answer any question people ask me. Of course, I'll answer a question without BS. I've got no reason. Like, I've just said this whole stream that if I run for the mayor's office, my job is to be as transparent as possible. I'm not a politician. I'm not vying for the mayor's chair so that I can be a federalist. I'm not looking to do what Ralph Klein did and say, I want to make a good statement in Calgary so I can run for provincial politics or I can run for the federal office. I'm going there to clean up my town. If somebody asks me a question, I'm going to give them an answer because here's the thing. If I've got nothing to hide, if I've done nothing wrong, I don't have to lie to people. I don't have to sit there and feed them a bunch of crap. If the city says, hey, you said you were going to do this and it's not happening, why not? I'll say, because a bunch of councillors are voting against me. If you want something to happen, let me take the next 3 years of my job and wait for the next election and vote those clowns out. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I got a hair in my mouth there. I have a white dog, and sometimes the hairs get near my microphones. If someone asks you a question and you give some bullshit answer, you're going to be in a lot of shit. Yeah, I get that. But I just said, if I've done nothing wrong, I've got nothing to hide. And I'm not going to sit there. Look, when you look at the typical politician, when you look at, we'll say somebody like Jody Gondek, Kean Bexley asked her about her defunding the police and if she thought that was a good idea now that Danielle Smith had to step in. She walked away from a microphone. You want to see what accountability looks like? When I'm mayor, even if it's the prostitutes that are standing there asking me stupid questions about diversity or something woke, I'll answer them, but I'll make them look like clowns at the same time. I'll call them out for their nonsense. And I'll say, why would you ask such a stupid question? But at the same time, if it's a question that affects the people of the city, I owe it to them to be honest, truthful, and transparent. That's my job. I've always been transparent on this channel. There's a lot of people who tell me you sometimes give too much information about yourself. You tell people too much. You go into too much. You shouldn't be doing those things. It's the reason for that is transparency. I want people who come to this channel, people who are a part of, again, this amazing community, to know who I am, to know what I'm bringing to the table, that I got nothing to hide and nothing to lose. And I would treat any job the same way, especially the mayor's chair. It's not a job, it's an honor. It's a privilege to be looked at as a leader of a city and to make the decisions that you think are best going to help the people. You got to answer honestly. Don't get bought. I'm not going to get bought. I've already said I'm not in this for money. I have a household where I have no debt. I don't have a racked up credit card. I've said it before. We pay our bills all the time. We're always at a zero balance. The only debt I have in my home right now every month is my mortgage. Nobody's able to buy me. And people say everyone's got a price. No. No. Do you know where I'm being bought? If I take the mayor's job, I'm being bought by 1.7 million people. They're paying me annually to do a job. And just like any other company, if I've ever worked for another company, I look at it and I go, when I'm at work, I'm there on their dime. I'm there on their time clock. I'm there to do the best job that I can. 1.7 million people are paying me an annual salary to do the best job that I can and represent them. Nobody else can convince me otherwise that their money is worth more than those 1.7 million people and the interests that are best for them. And that's where it stays. And if anybody ever sat down with me, whether it's a developer, whether it's a company with a contract, or somebody who says, hey, man, nobody's ever going to find out I give you this money. If they're doing something illegal, I would press charges immediately to make an example out of them that no one else is to pull that kind of crap in my town. At the same time, if they weren't doing something illegal, I would make it very clear to them that their money is worthless to me and that they should get walking very fast, because they're not welcome in my town. I don't put up with that. I bet he'll sell out for 5 mil. No, because here's the thing. You can spend $50 million. You can spend $100 million. My integrity, my dignity is worth more to me. I'd have to live the rest of my life knowing what I did. And I'm not that guy. I can't do that. I can't do that to people. I'm not going to sit here on YouTube and preach to people that I'm here to clean up a town just to take somebody's money and walk away. I'm not a politician. The reason I'm running is because I'm prepared to do what no one else has. I'm prepared to work without bribes. I'm prepared to work without kickbacks. I'm prepared to do the best I can for this city. I said it on Thursday night stream. I've been told my whole life that there's 3 principles to living. Work hard, do the best you can, be honest, and treat people the way you'd like to be treated. If you do those 3 things, you have nothing to worry about your entire life. And that's the principles I've tried to live my entire life on. And I'll continue to live my life on. You have good times, you have bad times. My name is worth more to me than any amount of money. And I tell my kids that all the time. I've always told my kids, I caught my daughter once spilling a lie at school. And I told her, your name is the most valuable thing you possess. Because the value of your name is what's most important in this world. If you're a scumbag, people are going to know. And that travels. And that'll follow you the rest of your life. Even a guy like Justin Trudeau, I don't care if he's worth $100 million. He could be broke in 15 years. He could be broke in 10 years. The way he lives, it wouldn't shock me when he leaves his job. But my name is worth more than any amount of money. When I die, I want people to say he was a good man. He was honest. Somebody I used to respect called me a liar not too long ago without any proof. And it irked me. And the people that are closest to me said, why do you let it bother you so much? Because we've seen the receipts. We know that you're telling the truth. And I said, because I hate that stupid term. I hate liars more than anything in the world. Can't stand it. You ever want to? It's kind of like they joke around that it's kind of like Marty McFly being called a chicken. I hate being called a liar, especially with no proof. My name is worth more than any amount of money, and it should be for each and every one of you. When you go to your job, when you're in your marriage, when you're in relationships, I've had opportunities to take other jobs and sandbag a company I'm working for, but I go, nah, it's not about a reference. It's about people knowing whether I'm a good person or not. If I'm going to leave, I'll do it on the right terms. I'm not going to screw somebody over. I've had times where people have said, hey, I'm going to cut this person out of a job and give you this one instead. And I've said, yeah, I don't like doing it that way. If you want to legitimately hire me on or do something, I'll do that. I've been put in plenty of situations to screw people over. And every time I always try to put myself in their shoes and say, how would I feel if that was happening to me? And maybe that's going to be my downfall. People say the nicest guys finish last. I think honesty has to go somewhere at some point. Integrity has to go far at some point. It's got to be worth something. Maybe if enough people do that, we can get back to a society where that's valued again. because it seems like in today's political landscape, it's more who's prepared to do the dirty deeds done dirt cheap. You have to have integrity. I'm running for mayor to be what no one else is offering: transparency, honesty, and performance. The unhinged fringe is going to the mayor's office, and it's going to be far better than anything you'll see on these streams. I guarantee when you see performance, you're going to say, hey, the guy stood by his word and he's doing a good job. Anyway, we've carried this stream much longer than we usually do. And as much as I love hanging out with the community, I'm going to have to wrap things up. But ladies and gentlemen, again, join me this upcoming Saturday. No stream next Sunday. Join me up Saturday on February 2nd for a special live stream with Tamara Leach here in the studio. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to hang out with my dear friend. And like I've said, we're going to talk about pretty much anything she wants to. I don't know the extent of what she is allowed to talk about, as her court case is still ongoing. So if Tamara wants to come in here and talk about, cats and dogs, well, we're going to entertain that for the stream, and we'll be taking your questions, answering the right questions that we can. And again, I'll be transparent with that as well. But join us here at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. Other than that, join us all week long as content is coming into the channel. I can't wait for you guys to see what we got lined up this week. I think we got some great videos coming your guys' way this week here on the channel. Again, if you haven't picked up your new Straight Goods clothing, head over to straightgoods.com. Pick up some clothes from the Unacceptable Fringe line. Every sale goes to helping veterans, as well as getting yourself some good-looking clothes. They've done a great job of that lineup. Don't forget to go to unacceptablefringebooks.com. All of our books are going on sale this week. I'm going to be clearing out the last of my stock and inventory, and once those books are gone, they're gone for good. I won't be signing or selling books anymore, so if you want to grab books, now's the time to get them. Head over to unacceptablefringebooks.com and grab your copies. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope to see you all in the stream next Saturday. I can't wait to sit down with Tamara. It's going to be a blast. You guys have a great week. Stay safe. Keep free of the government, and I'll catch you on the next one.